All right, welcome everybody. My name is Michael Scharf and I will be your professor for this class. This is my second attempt of doing this. The first one didn't work out, so hopefully this one does and everybody can view this. Along with this, obviously I'm having some difficulties here, but I guess the good news, bad news situation about this is the good news is we're starting new this semester on Canvas. And I guess if you're new to Limestone, then you don't have to learn two different systems like everybody else that's in the program already. We were on Blackboard last semester and now switching over to Canvas. So I guess that's good news. The bad news is we're all living through some growing pains. I know I just added a bunch of people to the class, so hopefully they can see this. Um, but I guess there's no real guarantee that I did everything perfectly. I already know that my first video didn't work out, so certainly as we go through, particularly this semester, if we go through and you see something that doesn't make sense or you think something missing, please just ask and send me an email. There's an Ask the Professor section that you can type any questions that you might have within that. So as we get started, regardless of Canvas, Blackboard, I always advise people to make a copy of the syllabus. And that way, if your internet goes down or something happens with Canvas and you can't log on, you kind of know what's going on every week. But within Canvas, your main section is going to be the module section. So if you click on the modules, I set it up so that each week it lists exactly what you need to do each week. Now, this is also in the syllabus. So if you do have a hard copy of the syllabus, you can use that. As I said earlier, I also have an Ask the Professor section. Feel free to ask any general questions that you might have. As a matter of fact, if you have a question, that's probably the best place to go because that's usually the first place I go when I log on and make sure that nobody has any general questions. If you stick a question somewhere in the discussion questions, it might be a while before I actually see your question. So definitely post there. The other thing that I will say is one of the positive things about being in an online environment is you get to do the work whenever you want. I guess the downside is that when you're doing the work, I'm not necessarily online at the exact same time. So it could take until the next day that I see your question. So with that, I will say that if y'all are going out to the Ask the Professor section as well, and you see somebody that asks a question and you know the answer to it, feel free to type the answer in. You know, somebody's asking, hey, I couldn't find, when is such and such due? And you know when it's due, then I have no problem with you answering. Again, with the idea of getting the answer to the individual that's asking the question as quickly as possible. So I'm probably going to do a few more of these videos because I know as the transition happened from Blackboard to Canvas, we had an orientation course and I think I did 9 different videos on different topics within Blackboard and none of them transferred over. And I know as of yesterday, the day before the class starts, it still wasn't done. So I'll probably start remaking those and add them both to the orientation course, and I'll put them in as an announcement in this class. So the real main one that I wanted to do for this class is the one on how to do a case study. And I'll do and post a video this week on that. As far as this class goes, again, click on the module section within Canvas, and each week is identified exactly what you're supposed to do. Each week we will have discussion questions that I ask questions, and you both respond, and at a minimum, you need to respond to one other student with a substantive comment. And so great post, I don't know, I agree, the same thing happened to me, are not what I would consider substantive posts. So now, if the same thing happened to you and then you explain how that happened, I would then count that as a substantive post. So out of, usually there's 3 discussion questions a week, out of the 20 people, hopefully out of the 3 discussions, you can find one post, at least one post that you can provide a substantive comment to. And you can provide more than that. And what I usually do is, if you post the 3 answers, your answers, and then post 3 other discussion questions, I don't give extra credit, but what I do is I grade the one that is the best. So if you have 3, I take whatever I consider to be your best post, and that's the one I grade. So there is a benefit to posting more than one, but you're required to answer all the discussion questions and post at least a response with a substantive comment. And I would actually, and I know this isn't done a lot in the undergrad program, but there is a lot of learning that can be done, especially in management and ethics courses like what we're in. If you disagree with the person, there's nothing wrong with somebody saying, hey, this really worked for me and here were the results, and someone else coming by and saying, wow, I tried the exact same thing and the results were disastrous. So there's nothing wrong with that. And hopefully through the discussion, we can kind of figure out, I mean, maybe there was something that that made it be successful in one area and not the other. And isn't that great learning to be done? I mean, maybe one of them had older or younger workers, or, they were, it wasn't a very diverse organization, or it was very diverse. And we can kind of figure out, hey, so maybe something works well in one environment, but not in another. And so, based on what your environment is. So again, nothing wrong with disagreeing with somebody, and even, actually, even if it's me, because I'm going based on my experiences, and my experiences obviously are not your experiences. So feel free to disagree, and I'm good, because that, I know that's management, and management ethics, all this kind of stuff. Man, it would be easy if there was just one answer and then you just followed it, and then we wouldn't need classes on anything. So but that isn't the case, and it is very situational. So we try to figure out in what situations things work and in what situations they don't work, and then figure out where to implement them and not. So again, feel free to disagree, bring up differences of opinion throughout the class, because I think that's where most learning actually occurs in these online environments. Additionally, for those that have never taken an online class, I will say, and I've taken some, it probably took me 2 or 3 classes before I really felt like I was learning something. So don't feel discouraged straight up. So again, as a general introduction to the class, I would recommend, again, you making a hard copy of the syllabus. But just in general, the class has one test, and it's in week 4. There are discussion questions each week, and then there are 3 case studies. One of the case studies, the first one, is an individual case study, and the last 2 are team case studies. And I will assign teams this week once we figure out if there's any adds or deletes to the class. But so in week 7 and then week 8, there are team case studies. So how you guys work that out is up to you, as far as, does everybody do everything, or do you assign certain people, assignments? And if there's a group of 4 and you wanted 2 people to work on the first case and 2 people to work on the second case, and then put everybody's name on it, that's fine. I would recommend somebody be responsible for putting the paper together. In other words, taking the parts from different people and making sure they flow. And I will say that one of the main issues with doing teamwork is many times multiple people reference the same information. And if you were writing the paper yourself, you wouldn't restate the same thing 3 or 4 different times within a paper. And you shouldn't do that in a team paper. So whoever's putting that paper together needs to figure out, okay, who said this the best and where does it belong? Even if it's not in that person's section that they were assigned, you move it to where it belongs and only say it once. I'll do another video as we get further along. The first case study is not due until week 5, and that's the individual case study. So that really isn't an issue for that one, because you'll be doing it. But in each of the case studies, you'll see that there's questions. You don't need to necessarily have each one of those as like some bulleted list or as a heading in the paper. You just need to make sure to cover the information. And like I said, I'm going to do a complete video on how to do a case study in the MBA program, and I will get that done in the next couple days. So highly recommend you look at that. But that's pretty much it for this class. There's discussion questions every week. There's 1 test and 3 case studies. So certainly if you have any questions of me, feel free to post them in the Ask the Professor, and hopefully I can get them answered as we move forward. Again, welcome to the program. It's gonna be a crazy term with me learning Canvas, you learning Canvas, and making sure I did everything right, but hopefully it goes as smooth as possible. I look forward to a great semester, and just again, let me know if you have any questions.